This is an image of LeBron James looking at the stat lines mid-game. He's probably wondering one thing at this moment. When am I ever going to record a 27-7-7 game? You see, this is one of the great mysteries in the history of basketball when it comes to statistical analysis. LeBron has been in the NBA for 20 years as of today, has played in 1,421 regular season games, and as you can see, has a career average of 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. But yet, for some strange reason, he's never had a single game where he recorded 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. He's had a 26-6-6 game, a 28-8-8 game, but he's never had a single game where his final stat line equaled his career averages. I mean it. Just look at it for yourself. This is a list of every single NBA player who's ever met those criteria, and LeBron's name is nowhere on it. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout the history of the league, strange things have appeared when we're on the topic of stat lines, and today we're going to go through the 15 strangest ones. The plus-minus department of the box score means that for every point your team scores while you're on the floor, you're +1, and vice versa. For every point the opposing team scores while you're on the floor, you're -1. Usually, a high plus-minus means you've contributed a lot to your team's success, like James Harden's 60-point plus 50 game, for example, or Kemba Walker's 46-point plus 47 game, or Jason Tatum's 21-point plus 46 game. But on December 16th of 2015, Andrew Bogut of the Golden State Warriors did something that was unheard of. You see, when the final buzzer sounded, he had a game-high plus-minus of 42, which is really good. But the kicker is, he also had 0 points. Yeah, that's right. In 21 minutes of play, Bogut never attempted a single field goal, missed both his free throws, but ended up with an enormous plus 42 for the game, which was higher than both Steph and Klay that game. How crazy is that, right? But if you thought that was out of this world, wait until you see what Cal Bowdler did on November 13th of 1999. On that day, in about 14 and a half minutes of play, Bowdler scored 2 points, grabbed 2 rebounds, was a -9 in the plus-minus department, but had 7 fouls. Yeah, I'm not kidding. In the NBA, you're only allowed 5 fouls, and then you're automatically ejected on your 6th. Well, apparently, the scorekeeper didn't realize Bowdler committed 7 fouls until after the game was over, and because of that, he's the only player in the modern era of basketball to commit 7 fouls during an NBA game. If you thought that was strange though, wait until you hear what Popeye Jones did back in March of 1994. So, you've probably heard the saying that good offense beats good defense any day of the week, but Popeye Jones must have taken that to heart on this fateful night because the man went crazy on the boards, and in specific, the offensive boards. When the final buzzer sounded, Popeye's stat line showed 12 offensive rebounds, but 0 defensive rebounds. And speaking of good D, better O, Davis Bertans also took that to heart. You see, in February of 2021, Bertans refused to shoot any shots within the perimeter because why go for 2-point shots where you can go for 3s, right? Well, on that night, the man went 9 for 11 from 3-point range, shot a perfect 8 for 8 from the free throw line for a total of 35 points. Since the 3-point line was added in the 80s, this is the highest point total from a player who didn't register a single 2-point field goal attempt. Scottie Pippen is up next, and this stat line isn't really the one that you'd want to show off, and I think you'd agree. In February of 1990, Michael Jordan's sidekick had arguably one of the most embarrassing stat lines you could think of. The man fouled out of the game with 6 fouls, but not before turning the ball over 12 times. Yeah, imagine committing 12 turnovers and then getting fouled out of the game. That's gotta be embarrassing, right? Well, a player by the name of Dino Radja wanted to actually one-up Scottie Pippen because, as you see, in December of 1993, Dino set the NBA record for most field goals attempted without scoring a single point. Yeah, in a game where his team lost by 14 points, the Croatian center went 0 for 14 from the field and also missed both his free throw attempts and ended up laying the biggest goose egg in NBA history. Well, we all know records are meant to be broken, and Shaq wasn't one to shy away from any challenges. In December of 2020, the Big Diesel, who's known to be a bad free throw shooter, outdid himself. On this night, one of the greatest players of all time set the record for the most free throws attempted without making a single one of them. Yeah, 0 for 11 is what Shaq went for on this night, and it was games like this that eventually gave birth to the notorious hack-a-Shaq tactic. Moving on here, a player by the name of Rondé Hollis Jefferson must have seen some of these awful stat lines and said to himself, I don't want to be known as the man for laying an egg. So instead, in April of 2021, when he was inserted into a game for just 5 minutes, the man went ballistic and did everything he could. Points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. The man literally did everything, and in the very end, recorded one of the strangest stat lines you'll ever see. 1 point, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block? The next guy on this list didn't want to do anything but score. On December 2nd of 2020, Allen Houston woke up and chose violence. The 6'6" guard from Kentucky didn't want any rebounds that game, didn't want any assists, didn't want any steals or blocks. All he wanted to do was drop buckets that game, and on that night, he recorded 37 points without registering any other statistic. 16 for 20 from the field, 2 for 2 from beyond the arc, and 3 for 3 from the charity stripe was what he pulled off. And as of today, this is the most points ever recorded in NBA history without recording a single other statistic. In November of 1962, Wilt Chamberlain wanted to show people how many points he could score without any blunders on his part. He wanted a perfect game. And in this particular match, the legendary center went off for 73 points while committing 0 personal fouls, and as of today, that's a record. Recently, however, Damian Lillard went off for 71 points without committing any fouls, and before him was when Steph Curry dropped 62 on Lillard's head without committing a single foul. Jamal Murray, on the other hand, wanted to see how many points he could score without shooting a single free throw. He must have been tired of seeing people like James Harden getting to the line a bazillion times per night, so he wanted to show the world how to get buckets without all those flailing arms. In February of 2021, the Nuggets star guard went for 50 points while shooting 0 free throws. 21 for 25 from the field and 8 for 10 from beyond the arc was what he put up as he completely desecrated the Cleveland Cavaliers. Speaking of desecrating though, in January of 2019, LaMarcus Aldridge completely desecrated the OKC Thunder from within the arc. You see, on that date, the 6'11" center scored the most points in NBA history without registering a single three-point field goal attempt. 20 for 33 from two-point range and a perfect 16 for 16 at the free throw line gave him 56 points as he became the two-point king. The following year, however, Eric Gordon wanted to show LaMarcus that two-point shots were for chumps and that it now was the era of the three-pointer. But unfortunately, it just wasn't Gordon's night. You see, in February of 2020, the former sixth man of the year tried to light it up from beyond the arc, shooting 12 three-point attempts, but to his surprise, not a single one of them went in. To this day, that's the most three-point attempts made in a single game without registering a single three-point field goal. That stat line, unfortunately, fell on the wrong side of legendary. Not these next ones, though. These next ones are legendary stats that if you could somehow average, you'll likely be goated. I'm talking about the legendary quadruple doubles. Hakeem Olajuwon, Nate Thurmond, and David Robinson are the only 3 players in NBA history to have recorded a quadruple double with points, rebounds, assists, and blocks, while Alvin Robertson is the only player in NBA history that did it, but instead of blocks, did it with steals. So far in history, this legendary stat line has only been done a total of 4 times. Okay, well, if you're including turnovers as a statistic, it's been done multiple times. Russell Westbrook is the leader in this category at 6 times, while James Harden did it 4 times. Surprisingly, Nikola Jokic, one of the leaders when it comes to efficiency, did it twice. Many other players did it once, like Jason Kidd, Blake Griffin, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley, and Giannis. Sheesh, guys. This is one statistic that you probably won't want on your resume, though.